Anthem on Xbox One X, where we're getting a native 4K resolution, 30 FPS, HDR support. This is a large-scale sort of social-based multiplayer game. It is cooperative in nature. There's no PvP at launch. And you're fighting for humanity as a freelancer. As a freelancer, you get these cool suits called Javelins. They're sort of like, just mech things that you customize. They're pretty neat. You've got a host of people that you get to chat to. They give you quests, you have missions, and everything like that. So there's a bit of a narrative to it. It's not entirely too strong, and it does sort of like plateau at a certain point. It keeps having these certain missions where you're doing nonsense. So this is like literally the main mission I have, is I have to go to these tombs, but the tombs are different. They're not what you think they are. They're literally like things such as collecting treasure chests or finding collectibles. And to me, that's kind of insanely lazy. Very, very lazy to put in a game. That being said, the story until that point was actually kind of interesting. There was a lot going on. You get a ton of side quests to do. I've completed quite a number of them, kind of trying to find ways around doing this thing where I go and do boring stuff, but seems to be the thing. There's these strongholds. I think that's going to be the focus of what we're doing. There's quick play. You're basically working in a squad, but we're going to show that off in a sec. There's a full library, so you can get details about everything you do. Armories. So there's like full crafting and everything in this game. So we're going to show that off in the Forge. So the Forge is the area where you customize your Javelin, and you get to pick from a couple different Javelins, and they all do something different. You get to unlock new ones as you progress. There's 4 options: the Ranger, the Colossus. Colossus is a big guy. My guy's sort of the all-around. There's also one that's like super slick, and yeah, just giving you an idea. They're slightly different. I guess one's more like flying based. They just slightly alter on what they can do. So you've got different components that you level up, and you get new abilities, and these kind of increase your ability to do stuff, your armor, your grenades, everything like that. There's a crafting system, so you collect materials in order to craft things to better improve your character, and you can craft like weapons and extra abilities, everything like that. So that's the exact same, not really much of a bonus. And then you could salvage things for parts too if you'd like to. You get a couple different weapons, and you can get better weapons as you continue, and you unlock new things. And every mission you're unlocking new weapons and cool gear and tools that you can use. You can fully customize your character. You can buy stuff. You can buy it both with coins, in-game currency, or you could pay for the microtransaction shards. So you kind of see that here. You get the option where it's buy with coins, buy with shards. It doesn't seem to be anything at this current point that is locked just by shards. And you really do get to completely customize the look and style of your Javelin. It's kind of cool. There are a lot of color options, and you can just really pimp out your suit. I think it's kind of cool. I went for more of a broken down look, but you can make it like a cleaner, more slick style. That's entirely up to you. So when you're starting out, your main hub area is entirely first person. Honestly, it's a little bit slow to move through, even with sprinting, but you get a large area that you get to explore. So we have the map, and that kind of highlights everything. There's all these different people you can chat with, and some of them have quests and missions and things you can do, like side missions. And then you pick something, and then you go up to the main kind of launching pad, and that's where you get to go to work. And you can see like the featured kind of store here for items, making yourself look all fancy. And socials, so you can see a squad, your squad of 4, and you can invite your friends and everything like that. Doors just open. You're probably noticing the performance a little bit rocky. It's a lot better than it was when it was in a, I guess, beta format. I'm not sure what they would call that. I think it was a beta, early whatever. So yeah, it's actually generally a lot cleaner, and I'm sort of glad that they went for the native 4K, because it really is a lovely looking game. So you can skip that too if you'd like, but we're going to jump into gameplay. So there's free play, and I've totally forgot to pick what I was going to do, which was the Stronghold, because I think that's kind of a good showcase of gameplay. So obviously, you kind of track things, and then you go into this and do them. It's a little bit, I don't know, could be a little cleaner, the interface, to be honest. And then you go and you select your difficulty if you want something a little bit more hardcore. And there it is on the map. And then you start your expedition, and it just automatically matchmakes you. There's consumables you can put into gameplay too. Game has been running quite well. I did notice a couple server disconnects, and I think matchmaking is working right now, so hopefully that is the case. I was having issues in one mission, but it's one of them, I guess, more obscure at this point missions for finding other people. You do spend a lot of time loading in this game, and one thing that bothers me is if you just get a little bit behind your teammates when you're out there in the world, it sort of forces you to load right in front of them or right beside them. Kind of like the old Halo Combat Evolved thing. Not as bad, but you get the sense where you get like pushed up and you're like, oh, really? Because sometimes you're like right behind your teammates. It's like literally 2 seconds behind them. And then you get teleported up and you're like, why? Why would you do that? Alright, there we go. I actually cut just a little bit, a few seconds off at the end there. So we got our team, we got our squad, we're going in, everybody's all decorated, differently looking. I really don't care too much. And we're jumping in. So the game is just gorgeous. I really am in love with the visuals. It's full of life. There's critters, some friendly, some hostile. And we're dealing with like mines, I guess, in this one. So these strongholds are kind of like, I don't know, strike type missions where you're going in. You're doing all these layering steps. Usually the pop-in, that is not existed in this, just so you know. That's the first time I've seen it like that. And you're going in, you've got this mission, and you gotta do stuff. And usually there's like a boss fight at the end, just to give you context into what they are. But the world is beautiful, it's responsive, it reacts to what you're doing. You know, like the puddling water, the visuals, the sense of scale. It's just such a large and vast environment, and there's so many areas you get to explore. I really am just in love with the style and the look of the environments. You are, however, fighting like really the same enemies over and over again. It's this Scar group, so you're just fighting a lot of red troops. There's some like regular creatures, and there's Wyvern, I think they're called that. But you know, they're kind of, I don't know if they're exactly like that, because they like to take the names of things that are kind of real or mythical, and they change them slightly. Like scorpions in this is like scorpions or something. They slightly alter it. So you get what I kind of mean there. I already did this quest, I thought. I don't know. Anyways, it's a good showcase. And yeah, you're coming in, you're shooting, firing, and battling. But the best part of this game really is the movement system. So you can kind of just fly at any point that you want and go wherever you need to go. It's a large world to explore. You can use a sense of verticality to your battles and get a little bit of an advantage from a higher point. If you'd like to, there is a bit of a cooldown. And then you can actually go into like water or cooler areas, and your heat buildup, your overheating, will eliminate, allowing you to basically fly longer in your Javelin, which is pretty cool. I also think mechanically the suits are really well done. They look cool. Sort of like a smooth movement. You can dip and dodge. Those things are powerful. You get a number of abilities to use. You kind of got like grenades going on, and all of that stuff, as you saw earlier, are things that you can kind of level up and pick new items for. And that will improve what you're able to do damage-wise. Same with the guns. You want to get new, better guns all the time so that you're more powerful out here. But that's kind of like really as far as I'd say, you know, like skill-based things go in this one. How? You can revive each other. You can respawn in certain areas. Sometimes it's like a no respawn zone. It kind of feels a little bit like Mass Effect, if you are familiar with that game. Just in terms of like doing like what's basically the concussion shots, or generally like this melee combat in this. It just kind of feels similar. It hits some of the same beats as that franchise, if you're familiar with that. It's just like a lot more, I don't know, there's not as much, there's no choice really in this one, so that kind of makes it different. And I don't think the characters have as much sort of development in this one as well. I mean, some of them are sort of there, you chat with them, and that's really it. You get like bits of their personality, and then the narrative just kind of like flies you along. I wouldn't consider it to have a very strong story. There's a little bit of a sense of mystery to it. and doing side missions does sort of help you discover what is going on a bit. It's basically this like material thing that the Anthem, and it changes up the world, and it spawns like weird creatures. There's elemental things and I don't know, stuff like that. Your freelancer has like a bit of a personality too. They got some slick things to say, but you don't really get to develop who they are. They're just kind of this cocky pilot person. And that's about it for the narrative elements of it. And then you're just sent on missions to go and help crazy scientist people, and there's like factions and everything like that. You get the grenades blowing up in there. And then you got like ultra abilities. You kind of see my character, or my classes there. Messed up that turret up there. Oh yeah. But again, look at just how visually stunning the world is. It's just, I think it looks amazing. And for the most part, it actually runs fairly bad. I mean, we're not competing against one another, so it really doesn't bother me too much. Performance things. That being said, you know, since this is enhanced and everything like that, it would have been maybe nice to have some visual options to choose between. Because I know some people appreciate the options for like frame rate and stuff like that. But I'm sure there's perhaps reasoning behind the scenes as to why they don't do that kind of thing. And yeah, you get night scenes, day scenes, a lot of beautiful, distinct sort of areas. I wouldn't say the biomes change a whole lot, but you do get some really distinct looking areas that you venture through. Spooky caves, you can go underwater and explore, which is kind of weird, but cool at the same time. Large open caverns, plains areas, a lot of buildings. There's just a lot to this in terms of like the types of places that you're visiting. Oh crap, and there's a lot of combative elements to this. Trying to fly away. Help out a teammate. I mean, it's fairly complex, but also simplistic. I mean, generally, it's about what I actually imagined for this game to be, for the most part. I was just hoping for a little bit more variation in the factions. Like, there's, I'd say, about 3 core groups going on. There's these red guys, there's these Dominion folks, and then there's our troop. You know, the regular human people just trying to live and not die by all of the enemies. Low health. Not great. What's everybody else doing? Those turrets, they're just deadly as hell. They're like a step up from things, but you get a good variation within the ranks of enemies that you're fighting. Some are like big shield guys, you have to jump over them. You might fight big bugs or other types of troops. These guys with shields, a little bit more deadly. Sometimes you have to face other freelancers too, which is kind of interesting. It's a nice twist on things. Because the big story is the freelancers were all cool, and then people were like, yo, we don't like them because they failed in a mission or something. It doesn't really make any sense, to be honest, just from what I saw, because you get to kind of live that tale, which was interesting. A lot of particle effects, a lot of things going on. As you can see, our team is not really progressing. We're just supposed to be grabbing these things in order to kind of push, but I guess maybe I'll go do that. Yeah, some of the game is interacting, well, a lot of it is interacting with objects, taking them places, interacting with stones. The HUD is fairly simplistic. It's very easy to understand. Right hand side, the bottom has all of your sort of guns, your abilities. Left hand side, all on the top basically, it tells you your troops, where they are. It's kind of cool on the map too, I guess because we're inside, but you can actually really see the direction of where everybody is on the open world very easily from the map. Top right is your objectives, and top left is your shields and health. And you can replenish this while on the battlefield. I guess people have been quitting out. Our team is kind of useless, so I don't really blame them. And I think that's a good point to kind of split off and go into the free play mode and show that off. Alright, we finally, after so much loading, got into the sort of open world free play. So you actually do missions in this area, but we're just going to be flying around it so that you can get a sense of the world and the movement within it. I mean, the idea of having side things to do is really cool, but the fact that they put it into the main story kind of really makes me feel like they had nothing better to do in terms of adding content to this. It is like, to me, like preventing narrative progression to make you do boring side things that should be optional is just the complete laziest way of telling a story, and it's a complete turn off for me. I significantly actually lower my score for any game that has the nerve to do anything like that, because, you know, side content's cool when you want to do it. I finished the main game, I want more, I'll go back and I'll do all the little collect chests and stuff, but to have the nerve to tell me I need to go collect treasure chests or find collectibles in the world in order to continue the story, that's very poor game development. But yeah, beautiful world. There's just really a ton to do. And if you want some good gameplay, there's just really a lot going on in this, and it does render fairly well. I'm seeing more pop in while I'm doing this than normal, but oh crap. Oh, that was really easy to blow up by myself. Okay. But yeah, there's a lot to do. There's other people going around doing things. You can collect from plants, get the resources to enhance your weapons. You just explore this vast, beautiful landscape. I think it's really impressive in terms of the scale of what they've provided. And the flying in this is just like a lot of fun. I have a really good time with it. I'm trying to get my special ability on. Why isn't that going up? Try to get over here or something. As I die. I don't know, it's not really going. That's interesting. Yeah. Click at the D-pad, nothing is happening. We're just gonna leave before I dial, sadly. But yeah, look, I mean, take a look at just the distance. They really make you feel like you're in some sort of vast, never-ending environment. I mean, this is like all areas you can really explore. There's like settlement sections and huge wall areas, and you can see a path of where you've been to, which I think is pretty cool. See, it goes on for quite a bit. You get like a large sense of areas to explore and visit. I think there's a lot going on in Anthem. My thing is, though, without like the PvP and stuff, I kind of worry about content for people that expect this type of game to have like a lot going on in it. And I know it takes time to add content and stuff like that. I think they've got a lot to this. It's provided a lot of gameplay outside of that. I'm just, in-game wise, I'm not too sure how much it's going to entice people to kind of stick around. We're going to have to see how the content is. But the core game itself, I think, is pretty well done. There's a lot of value to it. There's a lot of gameplay, a lot of missions to do, a lot of people to meet. There's a lot of characters in this. I do wish they would have maybe developed them further, had more of a thing to them. I will mention, even though there's no choice kind of what's going on, you do get to pick options for dialogue, kind of. You get, like, basically just changing the phrasing of things. It's not like a yes or no kind of thing. Slight alteration. Fly through here. But you can see there's like a lot of creatures in it too. I like how lively it is in that sense. Like there's like a... I don't think that's a good thing to kind of fly through. Thought that was like a bird crowd. You can actually fly through like a bunch of birds. It looks pretty sick. But I'm hoping this is just kind of sharing the general scale of it. I was hoping that the water would kind of cool me down a bit. Let me get up here. I think combat's kind of neat. It's really fun to play with other people. I have a good time playing in a group with randoms. Not even communicating with friends at this point. It's just kind of nice to sort of work with others, and it kind of works well in that functionality. Oh, and you're also building loyalty with factions in the game too. So the factions are kind of the different people within your society. You're all on the same team, but you have different like loyalty levels and stuff. I mean, obviously there's quite a lot going on in this. Spooky caves, cool rock formations, sort of epic battles as you fight large-scale bosses and creatures. World events to take part in. I imagine when you're looking at this, you kind of know what type of experience this is, and yeah, and can get a good idea of what it's about by this presentation. I think it's fairly decent, a solid package. Love the visuals because I've been all over those, obviously, during the video. I think it runs all right, and I think it's a pretty good effort for what it, what it aims to be. I think it kind of delivers. That's Anthem.